in the Monetary Policy Committee meeting yesterday, there were two key main messages. The first message was that the monetary tightening already done by Pakistan's central bank, which is around 275 basis points since September and the highest in Asia, is beginning to deliver the intended results. We are seeing a moderation in growth. We expect GDP growth to be this year between 4 and 5%. We are also seeing inflation beginning to moderate from 13% in the previous month to around 12% in the most recent reading. And were it not for a few perishable food items, the inflation reading would have been even lower. Equally importantly, our trade deficit, which was around $5 billion in November, in February was $3 billion, down 40%. So the first point was that tightening that the central bank has done since September of last year is beginning to deliver results. What has thrown a wrench, a complication in the outlook, is the conflict in Ukraine and the impact on international oil prices. The Monetary Policy Committee was of the view that the situation, because it remains very fluid, we should be ready, if the situation demands, to meet before the next scheduled meeting at end April and do whatever action is needed. I would remind that the Central Bank of Pakistan has met in the past as well in emergency meetings. And since we adopted forward guidance, we have believed in giving a heads up to markets if we think uncertainty has become more pronounced such that another meeting may be needed.
Is it a foregone conclusion, Governor, that if you do meet during an extraordinary meeting, or if you do stick to the scheduled meeting in April, that a rate hike is a foregone conclusion? And if so, how aggressive does the State Bank have to be in this context?
It is not a foregone conclusion, yet if it were, we would have already raised interest rates. Our baseline scenario is one where the current level of real interest rates is already delivering the moderation in demand and inflation that we were hoping for. However, our forward guidance about possibly meeting, if needed, before the next meeting is about risks around the baseline. And in the interest of giving some predictability to decision makers, we are transparently communicating the thinking in the Monetary Policy Committee. Let me just take a step back, if I could. I think since the start of the COVID pandemic, then the recovery that has thrown inflation in uncharted territory for all countries around the world, and now since Ukraine, for central bankers, there have generally been more unknowns than knowns in the last couple of years.